Yo, it's MartydudeVR here, and today we're diving into the depths of hell with Metal Hellsinger VR for the PSVR2. This game has lighted up the rhythm FPS scene for a while now, but how does the VR port hold up? We got demons, metal, and some serious arm swinging action, so let's rip and tear right into it. So here's the thing, I didn't finish this game, but not because I didn't want to, but because I've got a newborn at home now, and life changes fast between diaper changes and baby naps. I just had the time to fully finish the game and conquer hell like I wanted. But from what I played, and trust me on this, I've gotten a really good gist and taste of what this game is about, so hear me out. Before we get into the gameplay mechanics, start with the story, and trust me, this metal as hell, literally.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
You play as the Unknown, a half-human, half-demon warrior on a brutal quest to reclaim her stolen voice from the Red Judge, which is basically like the big bad rule of hell, right? So really simple premise, but it does work. You're not here for a deep dive narrative, you're here to wreak havoc and tear through hordes of demons, while headbanging to some of the debatably best metal music ever put into a game that I've experienced. Now, one of the coolest parts of this game to me is the hub. Between all the carnage, it returns to this gothic hub that feels like it's pulled straight out of a dark fantasy novel. And what I love about this is that the developers integrated pre-level cutscenes right into the environment. So instead of just a flat screen popping in front of you, the cutscenes are actually played out as part of the world. It's really subtle, but it really helps with the immersion, which is key for a VR game like this. Plus, while you're in the hub, you can listen to all the in-game tracks. So if you're a fan of this type of music, and you will be by the end of this game, it's a great feature. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, which is the performance. The PSVR2 port, while fun, is definitely not perfect. You notice some pop-ins and visual glitches, especially on certain maps. Sometimes the game can feel a bit shaky and the performance doesn't always keep up with the fast-paced action. It did feel like there was some persistence at certain parts, but it's mostly smooth. It genuinely feels like the game needs more polish for release, and that's something you're definitely going to notice if you're sensitive to technical issues. But, don't get me wrong though, the game is still really fun, but if you're somebody who values smooth performance, you might want to wait. With that being said, I will keep you guys updated on whether it gets an update or two before release that may fix the things I just mentioned. Now let's get into the gameplay, because despite technical issues, Metal Hellsinger VR is still a rhythm-based shooter hybrid, and that makes it really stand out amongst the competition. The gameplay does feel like Doom if Doom had like a metal band playing with you the whole time. You'll be slaying demons to the beat of some killer metal tracks, and the more on beat you are, the more damage that you do. When you nail the rhythm, the combat flows in a way that's really satisfying, and you can really see the damage / beat multiplier build up as you get better at the game, which lets you get your ultimate, which changes with different weapons that you may find along the way. But let's be real here, there's a serious learning curve to this game, and it's not about shooting on beat. You got to manage your movements on beat, your arm swings, your reloads, and personally, I'm mostly stuck with the shotgun the whole time, because trying to keep my arm movements on beat while aiming, I couldn't do it. It just wasn't for me. But that's part of the challenge, and once you get the hang of it, it feels amazing. There's also a rhythm assist feature that helps to rhythmly, challenge players like myself. But the downside is that your score doesn't go on, the global leaderboards to be seen by everybody. Thankfully, the game does give you a good bit of flexibility, so you can pick different weapon loadouts depending on the level, which adds a variety to how you approach each level in the game. Whether you want to go heavy with shotguns or mix things up with more rhythm-based weapons like the sword or the pistols, there's definitely a lot of room for experimentation. There's also a lot of weapons in this game. There's like a skull that you can shoot, pistols, shotguns, even a crossbow that you get later on in the game, and even more to be unlocked as you progress. And you can't have progress without boss fights. The boss fights are some of the best parts of this whole game. Each boss has its own unique rhythm and mechanic to it, and when you finally take one down after syncing up with the music, it honestly feels amazing. Every boss battle feels like a culmination of everything that you've learned in that level up to that point, and the satisfaction is just so real when you actually beat it. After you finish the bosses of each level, there's even challenge levels called Torments that you can do that put you in different situations with different enemies, bosses, and weapons, and even time trials to add a lot of replayability to the game. So for my people who kind of run through games, you also have a lot of side content you can do to keep you busy. And speaking of levels, the level design, man, it is awesomely gothic. If you're a fan of the Soulsborne series, you're gonna feel right at home here. I'm not gonna lie to you. The twisted architecture, the dark landscapes, it's all beautifully crafted and really gives you that kind of ominous, eerie vibe that's perfect for a game set in the depths of hell. I personally couldn't get enough of it. Every level feels like a piece of just like gothic art mixed with heavy metal album covers, and I'm definitely here for it. Unfortunately, now we gotta have a quick word about microtransactions. Yes, there are in this game, and there's one weapon I've seen and a few character costumes you can buy in the game, and personally the costumes are pretty cool. They were decent, you know, adding flair to your characters and whatnot. But I know microtransactions aren't everyone's cups of tea, especially me, so it's worth mentioning, but it doesn't feel like you have to pay to win or anything like that. It's just simple cosmetics, so it's all good. It's just pretty much extra for anybody who wants them. Something I do have to commend the devs for is the accessibility options. There's a lot of stuff in the game added to make your life easier in hell. There's different rhythm meters you can select, from having it on the floor or on your gun or even on the HUD, which is really helpful. And there's also vignette options for people who get motion sick like myself, and I can tell these devs had really great ideas for VR implementation that a lot of flat to VR versions really miss out on. So shout out to them for thinking ahead and actually thinking of us, because I was genuinely surprised by how many options they gave you in those menus. Despite not finishing the game, I can tell you that Metal Hellsinger VR is so much fun. Yes, there are some rough edges with the PSVR2 port, and I'll definitely acknowledge that. And yes, there's a steep learning curve to the game, especially if rhythm games aren't your thing. But if you're into fast-paced shooters with a unique twist and a killer metal soundtrack, you're gonna love this game. The story, the gothic level design, the weapon variety, the accessibility options, it all comes together into a game that's definitely worth checking out. And hey, even if you're a new parent like me, you can still sneak in a level or two during, you know, those rare quiet moments you get as a parent. So what do you guys think? Does Metal Hellsinger VR hit the right notes for you? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, if you enjoyed this review, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe for more VR content from your boy. Make sure you go to globalcluster.com to get you a PSVR2 comfort mod, and make sure you go to vrrock.com to get some prescription lenses for your PSVR2. If you use code MartydudeVR, you get 10% off, so help me help you save some money. Alright guys, so until next time, stay brutal and keep gaming in VR, and remember, I'm just a dude with a VR headset. Peace.